Hi, I'm Brian Owen with ShopBot Tools, and today I just want to give you a brief intro to a special project that we're working on for our 30th anniversary. Over the last 30 years, we haven't just made a lot of ShopBots, but we've cut a lot of stuff with ShopBots. And everyone in the office spends many hours a week designing things in Fusion, SolidWorks, VCarve, Aspire, transporting that to their desired CAM software, toolpathing, taking the toolpath to the machine, making their cut, finding out things aren't quite right or they want to change something, and then starting the whole process over again. So based on the amount of time we spend on that work, I thought that we could maybe make certain types of jobs more efficient with purpose-built apps. These aren't going to be everything apps like VCarve that can design anything you want to. These are going to be very niche, specific little apps that will do one job really well. So with that in mind, we've relaunched the ShopBot Labs webpage on our website. You can access this at shopbottools.com/shopbot-labs. Right now we have just a handful of web-based apps loaded up to the page, and each of these apps is geared towards solving a specific problem or doing a specific kind of work. A lot of the things that I personally end up doing frequently in VCarve are the things that I wanted to tackle first. So there's simple stuff like a V-engraver. This will take any kind of vector-based image and do a V-engraving toolpath for it. Lithophanes are a really attractive thing that people here always want to make for Christmas, and I wanted to make this a little bit easier. So in the Lithophane app, you can load up an image of your choice, and it will automatically create a height map based on the darkness or lightness of the image, and it will cut deeper in areas that are supposed to be light, allowing light to shine through, and less deep in darker areas. And so this should get you straight to generating a toolpath for your image and taking it out to your machine. The first app that I want to show you is a furniture design app. This app assumes that you're going to be making some pretty simple furniture, bookshelves, benches, desks, tables, and works on the assumption that most furniture that's simple is going to be rectangular in shape. It's either going to be enclosing a rectangular volume like a crate, or it's going to be raising a surface up in a rectangular space like a table, or it's going to be providing a number of shelves that are rectangular in shape. So with this simplifying assumption about furniture, then the design of the furniture becomes the challenge of just laying out a bunch of panels in a 3D space and then finding a way to join them all together so that they stay where you put them. This app automates most of the process. You, the user, choose where to place the panels, and if those panels intersect another panel, then they automatically create joinery. And the default is a through tenon, a mortise and tenon joint. You can do blind tenons, or you could do a dado cut to join your parts together. I like the through tenons. They're easy to confirm that they're in all the way, and for the kind of furniture that I'm designing, I kind of want to see the joinery anyway. So I'm just going through a couple of quick examples of how to use this app right now. The main idea is that you set the volume of your furniture piece. So if you're doing a bench, maybe you're making the height just 20 inches, the width 36, and the depth 20. And that's the overall size of the seat that you want. You place your panel, the surface that you're going to sit on first, and then you start sliding in supporting panels to reinforce that base and make it so that it can stand up on its own. Same for a bookshelf. You decide how high, wide, and deep you want your bookshelf. Place 4 panels to frame the outside, and then drop in all your shelves. Other more involved designs here would be like a desk. You can add shelves on either side of the desk, a little bit of a barrier for privacy, a place for your keyboard, or even maybe a chair. Doesn't look like a very comfortable chair, but we'll have to work on integrating some angled panels so that you have a little bit of room to slouch in this chair for it to be comfortable. But this is just sort of a quick run through of some of the things that you might be able to design with an app like this. what I want to do now is sort of go in a little bit more in depth on one single design, kind of walk you through the thinking process for working with this app. And we'll do a test cut at 1/6 scale to see if we like the design. And then we'll do a full-size one for use here in the office. So the project that we're going to go into depth on today is a little shelf that's going to wrap around this pipe right here behind Jeannie's desk. Maybe make it look a little bit better and hide this pipe. So we're going to have to build a shelf that fits around the pipe and extends out, from the wall. So I think that we'll do about maybe a 22-inch deep, maybe 22 by 22, and then we're going to have to cut out 15 inches from one side in the corner and 14 inches from the other to make a square cutout that'll wrap around this pipe right here. So in the interface, you can make a couple of selections right at the beginning. Your thickness of material, your width, height, and depth of your build area. So like I said, I want to do about 22 inches by 22 inches for the shelf, and maybe we'll do 80 inches tall. So as I made these adjustments, you can see that my build volume also changed as well. So what I want to do first is kind of make a corner, 2 panels that will join together and form kind of the spine of the shelf. So you'll notice that as I move around on my build volume, the face that I'm hovering over will light up. That is indicating where the panel that you're going to place is going to live. So once I click on the face, then I can choose the location that I want to drop the panel. And in this case, I want it right up against the edge right there. And then I will drop in my next panel. And you can see already that I've got some sort of mortise and tenon joinery on the back, on the corner right there, and already laid out if I were going to cut this right now. So the next thing that I need is the top and bottom of this shelf. So I'll go ahead and drop a top panel there, and then also bring down the bottom. And again, you can see that the joinery is all automatic and already done. So now I want to add some shelves. I can use the control key to lay out a number of shelves. Oops. So if I want 5 shelves equally spaced, I choose that many and hit the space bar, and that goes ahead and deposits those 5 extra shelves there. So this is sort of the rough shape that I want, but I still need to remove that back corner section there. So I'm going to switch from construction mode over to trimming mode and start a trim. So the way that cutting works in this app is you really are defining a volume that you want to be removed from the design. And so I want to remove about, let's just make it even 15 by 15 chunk from the back. I'm looking at these numbers down at the bottom that are telling me how far or how large this cutting volume is. So I've defined the zone that I want to remove. Now I need to tell it which pieces are actually being cut. So I'm going to select pretty much everything here because I want this cut to affect all these parts. So once I've chosen the parts that are going to be trimmed, I hit apply trim, and you can see that I've now got a bunch of L-shaped shelves here, and we can check them in the flat layout as well. So these aren't going to be very strong, as far as like not flexing when you put things on them. So we need a little bit of vertical reinforcement here. So I'm going to bring in another panel and drop it right there. And so this panel intersects a number of shelves. and I get to choose which pieces of it I want to keep. So I'm going to do every other shelf for the panels facing this way, and then I'm going to, well, I don't want those to come all the way out like that. I'm going to trim these as well. So switch back over to trimming mode, and I'm going to trim away, let's say, 7 inches of these parts right here. Okay, trim has been applied, and then back to construction mode, and I'm going to place supports on this side as well. So I'll drop this here. I'll choose these alternating spots for the supports, and these also need a trim as well. So real quick, back to trimming mode, and let's do the same thing. We'll trim off 7 inches from this panel, and this panel. All right, so now I've kind of got the shelf in the shape that I want it, and I can see that my layout is going to be 2 full sheets of 3/4 inch plywood. So before I do the final full-size cut, I want to try out a scale model of this just to make sure that I like the way that it looks and everything fits together well. So I'm going to link together the width, height, depth, and thickness of the plywood, and I'm going to scale it down 6:1. So 0.12 is the thickness of the wood that I've got for my small model size furniture. So that scales down all the dimensions, and now in my flat layout you can see that I've got a bunch of small pieces. The sheets that I'm going to be cutting this out of are not 96 by 48s. These are going to be 36 by 24 sheets. I'm going to use a 1/16 inch bit, 1.5 inch per second feed rate, 50 thou pass depth, and I want to do an overcut of about 15 thou just to make sure that I get through the plywood. There's a couple of other settings here, the margin from the edges, the padding between your panels, and then mortise clearance. So sometimes your plywood is going to be a little bit bigger or smaller than 3/4 of an inch, and you might want to add a little bit of clearance so that there's not too tight of a fit. With this small wood, I can usually hammer it together really easily, so I'm going to make that mortise clearance 0. So the nesting algorithm's already laid out all my parts, and now all I have to do is go over to export and request an SVP file. And that will be something I can load right up to my machine and do the cut. All right, so just some construction adhesive and nails, and we've got our fully assembled set of shelves here. Mostly concealing this pipe, but still giving us access in case something goes wrong and we have got to get to it later. Before we wrap up, I want to go over a couple of the other apps that we're working on, just to kind of give you guys an idea of what to expect as we continue to flesh these out. So in addition to the Furniture Designer, There are some more practical apps like this one here, which is meant for designing vacuum plenums. You can specify a specific sheet size that you want to have for your table to be able to hold easily, and a number of zones and table size, and it will automatically arrange the table in a way that makes sense for the material that you're looking to hold. And also, of course, it will create a toolpath to cut out the plenum and the holes for your vacuum table. And there's also the terrain carver. The terrain carver actually lets you look around a map of the world and select a spot that you'd like to pull terrain from for engraving. So let's say we want to get the Puget Sound up here near Seattle. We hold down Shift, highlight the area that we're interested in, and tell it to fetch the elevation data. And pretty quickly it will come back with a height map showing the raised areas in reddish yellow and the low areas in blue. I can tell it the size of the blank that I want to carve into. I can tell it how deep to cut for the lowest parts. So let's say 2 inches here. And that gives me a little bit more extreme relief. That's not quite realistic. Maybe more like the half inch that we had before was good. But the cool thing here is that in addition to importing the geometry of the terrain, you can also generate your tool paths here. So this will take a little while for longer or larger pieces of geography, because it's got to calculate the path that the ball nose takes over the tops of mountains, into canyons, and make sure that the periphery of the bit doesn't hit any of the material that it's cutting away. But once it's done, you can see that it creates a raster toolpath for a ball nose bit. And one feature I've wanted for a long time is that at the beginning of the cut, it will step its way down into the material so that that first pass isn't quite so terrifying as it can be sometimes. And one more app I want to show you is this slicer app. So what this app does is takes a large size or small size 3D model, and it will allow you to slice it into sections that can be cut out of a piece of sheet material that you've got. So let's say that I've got some 2-inch thick foam and I want to cut this Greek column 8 feet tall. Oops, not 8 inches, but 8 feet, so 96 inches. So in order to do that, out of 2-inch thick foam, I'm going to need to slice it into roughly 48 slices. So it will automatically nest these slices on 4x8 sheets and will toolpath for me and let me output them and cut them, and then I can glue this together and make this full-scale model. So I hope that this gives you an idea of kind of what we're trying to work on here, and please remember that these are all under development, and we're looking for feedback, looking for people who are interested in this kind of thing to help us think of ideas to take it even further. So please give this a try and let me know what you think.